We have another faction restricted dungeon tournament this week. This time it is the Spider's Den, but we're talking about the same faction restrictions as we had for last week's Fire Knight tournament. That means the Telerian League. So we're talking Bannerlords, Sacred Order, High Elves, and Barbarians. In today's video, I'm going to take on the Spider's Den, both at stage 20 of normal and stage 10 of hard mode. And hopefully this video will stand in as a refresher to how to beat both of those modes of Spider's Den, if you needed that refresher. And then in addition, we're going to theory craft a whole gamut of teams from the most free to play that I can think of all the way up through some endgame teams that can maybe do this pretty quickly. So even if you don't have my champions or my gear, hopefully the theory crafting will get your wheels turning and you can figure out a successful team based on your roster. I am Colred. This is Colred Plays Raid Shadow Legends. Let's get started. Here we are on stage 20 of normal Spider. Now, at this point in the Spider's Den progression, there are two main approaches for beating stage 20. One is to use HP burns. The other one is to use max HP hitters. Remember that max HP hits are not capped at stage 20. That cap starts at stage 21. So 21 through 25, you can still use max HP hitters, but that's where most people feel like the HP burn strategy kind of takes over and it becomes more reasonable or feasible, although, you know, kind of depends on the champions you have and the gear you have. So I'm going to show you those two teams. We're going to go with relatively free to play friendly teams here. So I'm going to try to stay away from any, major power legendaries and stuff like that. So let's just go ahead and look at my 5 and 6 star champions. For right now, why don't we just stay with these? We'll ignore the legendaries and the mythics. I don't have any mythics in these factions anyway. And then let's go ahead and pick these factions. So those are our 4 factions. Now, I'm going to start with the HP burn strategy. I have only one HP burner that works here, and that is Mordecai. As you can see, he's only level 50. Just a quick note, I actually defeated stage 20 of Spider's Den with this Mordecai at stage 50, like 3.5 years ago. This was my first solution. I don't remember the team I put around him. I really don't. But this was the champion, and I have not rebuilt him since. So, we can take a look at the builds, but the builds don't really matter. So now let's go ahead and stay free to play friendly. So we want some speed here. Speed is critically important. You want to go a lot faster than the boss. That matters. So we're going to bring in High Katoon. Everybody gets High Katoon. And then what we would like to do is turn meter control the boss. You don't want to turn meter control the spiderlings. This is important, right? You don't want to slow the spiderlings down. You do want to slow the boss down, because the spiderlings need to go in order for the HP burns to actually fire. Unless you have an activator. If you have like an R-Tac or a Sissy Flame Tongue, or, I don't know, if you have any of those champions that actually activate HP burns, that's a different story. But Mordecai, he just puts the HP burns on, and then the spiderlings have to take their turn, and on their turn, all the spiderlings get hit for the HP burn plus the boss. So remember that when the boss goes, he eats the spiderlings. Not only does that remove your HP burn, but the boss gets healed, and then he damages you, or she damages you for more damage based on the number of spiderlings she consumes. So we want to basically not let the boss get a turn if we can help it. So I'm looking for some turn meter reduction here. And I have Armiger. My Armiger is barely built, but he does have the crit rate he needs and hopefully the accuracy he needs to reduce the turn meter on the boss here. And then let's see. We could definitely use a more reliable slow. So let's go ahead and bring in Stag Knight. Now he's going to give us a decreased defense, which is not a bad thing because we have some direct damage here from Armiger, and Stag Knight himself is going to do a little bit of direct damage on the boss, but he's also got that AoE decrease attack, and that's going to prevent the spiderlings from hitting us quite as hard. And then finally, we do need some healing and preferably a reviver. We don't really need a cleanser because hopefully we don't get hit by too many spiders, but if we do, that person will die and then be brought back. So let's go ahead and bring in Jamarsa, who is a free reviver that everybody can get just by doing self-referrals. So here we've got 2 free epics. We've got an uncommon that everybody can get. And then we do have 2 normal epics. I don't know if you can get either one from new player codes right now, but maybe. So this is a really reasonable, free-to-play friendly kind of team. In order to optimize it, I would definitely put it into like the team setup thing, but I'm just not going to do that. Now, we have 2 weak affinity champions. Those are going to be the Spiderling targets. You can try to pick which one's going to be the Spiderling target, but I really don't care. I'm just going to let this run. I believe that I'm fast enough that I should just be able to beat this boss with these builds as is. Now, just so you know, I think my Haikatune is running around 280 or 290 in terms of speed. That's pretty fast. Everybody else is probably somewhere between like 230 and 190 or something like that. And I don't think anybody has masteries except for Haikatune. I think Haikatune is the only fully optimized champion. The rest of them are just like hanging out. They're all Vault Guardians, but you know, they can do the job here. So let me get out of the way. Put myself over here. And we can watch this run. So we get the decreased defense and decreased attack, which is not a bad thing. Of course, Armiger opens with his A2, which is a max HP nuke. So there's a little bit of max HP nukage here. So we're kind of using, I guess, a hybrid strat. But really, the majority of the damage should come from the HP burns. As you can see, we want those Spiderlings to go. Unfortunately, Mordecai does have an AoE turn meter decrease. So does Haikatune. But with the Armiger A1, we should be decreasing the turn meter of the boss more frequently, and that means the Spiderlings should get more turns, and that will fire the HP burns, and hopefully that's enough. Yeah, so we do have a little bit of turn meter decrease on that boss there. And then if the boss does get 1 turn, hopefully it's not awful, and we can just bring Mordecai back and keep burning. We don't really want to land the burn before the boss eats the Spiderling. So hopefully the boss will eat the Spiderlings first. And then, yeah. So Mordecai dies. That's why we need Jamarsa. And you can see that massive heal. Got like a 30 or 40% heal. We do have the slow. We got HP burn on the boss, but not on everybody else. But that decreased attack is good. Mordecai's going to go. Not HP burn yet. So hopefully next turn. That Armiger hits decently. Still no AoE HP burn, unfortunately. We might just have to go ahead and kill this boss with direct damage. So now Jamarsa is starting to get hit, and that means that's bad news for us. Because if she dies, then we're not going to have, we're not going to get Mordecai back. But remember, on this turn, the boss will not eat the Spiderlings. But there we go. All right, so the max HP nuke, 2 minutes. Not slow, but not fast. But very free-to-play friendly. And let's look at this. We can go ahead and sell that. All right, so let's talk about another team. Again, I'm not going to go through the stats of all these champions. I know some of you request it in the comments. I just kind of give you a brief rundown. Like I said, speed is the most important. Nobody has a lot of HP. The 4 champions here don't have mastery. Like, I just know that that's true because I've never built these champions really out. I think Jamarsa might have like a bolster set on or something. Like, there's a little bit of regen there and some shielding. But really, it's just about speed and accuracy. That's all you care about, landing your abilities. In the case of Armiger, remember, you do need the 100% crit rate. And in terms of Stagnite, you need I think it's the Sniper Mastery to get to 100% on his decreased defense and decreased attack. But that's it. All right, so let's go on and move to we'll just do another free-to-play friendly team, but one that's more built around max HP nukage. So let's go ahead and do the filter again so I don't forget. And we'll do this. Okay. So I'm not going to use any of these champions again. Let's just get rid of all of those champions. We'll make it up with completely new champions this time. Obviously, Deacon Armstrong is my GOAT of the, epic rarity. I think he's the best epic in the game. He's going to give us that speed aura and the turn meter fill that Haikatune did, but he's also giving us some turn meter decrease. He's giving us the decreased defense that Stagnite gave us. And I think he gives us a leech on his A1. He's built about the same speed as Haikatune, like 280 maybe, something like that, 285. Yeah, so very good champion there. We can certainly use Neldor for like an AoE slow and some freezes, but we don't really want to slow down the Spiderlings, so I don't want to do that. Let's replace that speed and some of that healing with Apothecary. Apothecary, I think, is running around 245, maybe 250. And he's got a decent build. Not a great build, but a decent build. And then we need our max HP nuker. Right? We need our max HP nuker. What do I have on? Have some buffs or something? All right, so let's go ahead and take our Royal Guard. He's going to be our max HP nuker. And then that really is the entire team. Like, it doesn't matter past this point. I guess we could bring a slow. We need a slow. And maybe a little bit of wave control for the Spiderlings. Let's bring a weaken. We'll just bring Athel. I think that's my only weaken champion. This would not be bad. This would actually be pretty good. She's got 100% turn meter steal, or at least reduction. And then she is in a stun set for the waves. I don't know. She might be too weak, especially it's a level 29. You know what? Let's go ahead and just grab a free legendary. Go ahead and grab our Sila the Drakes. I love this champion. We don't feature her enough. Okay, so Sila the Drakes is going to give us another turn meter decrease on the A1, another potential slow. Our only potential slow, I just realized. So she's, no, Royal Guard also has a slow potential. So, and then she's going to give us some more healing, a revive in case Royal Guard dies, and then, of course, she's got the AoE stun. Now, in this particular case, Deacon Armstrong's going to be the Spiderling target. And, again, we can kill waves here. Like, we could go ahead and just control the waves, kill them. Doesn't matter. We don't have HP burns. We don't care about that at all. We're controlling the boss's turn meter just because we don't want many heals. And then we're just trying to get around to the max HP nuke from Royal Guard, probably 2 or 3 times. Probably 3 times would be more than enough. But we might do it in 2 shots. Because we also have Athel there providing a little bit of direct damage as well. My Royal Guard is built very well. I think my Athel is not great. My Apothecary is okay, and my Sila the Drakes is decently survivable. I think she's got probably 4K defense. I don't think she's fast. She might have... I don't think she's in regen either. She might have like an immortal set or something. We can watch her, see if she gets any heal here. Yeah, she got a little heal. So I think it's just an immortal set. But so we got some stuns out there for the Spiderlings. That's going to be helpful. Keep Deacon alive. We do have some turn meter decrease from a few different places. Not a lot. So we really need to be fast and get these nukes out. So we're hoping Royal Guard. I think the first one, we didn't have the weaken up. So the second one's going to hit harder than the first. Oof, that was a shot. That was a nice shot. And there we go. And done in a minute. So whether you're going HP burn or max HP nukes, remember, that you want to have enough speed. That's the most important thing. So I would say, your fastest champion should be somewhere between like 250 and 280, sort of. That would be good. It's not necessary. Like, you could maybe run it like 240 or 230, but that's a little bit rough. The speed boost is helpful. The turn meter increase is helpful. Turn meter decrease is really big. And the slow on the boss is critical in both setups. You just don't want the boss getting turns. So it's kind of like Fire Knight, like keep the boss controlled. And you can either nuke out the Spiderlings if you're going max HP nukes, or you want the Spiderlings alive for the HP burn strategy. Now, past this point, if you go to stage 21, or let's say you're going to farm stage 24, that's a fine place to farm. The difficulty is for the max HP nuke strategy. You've now got the cap on the max HP. So you're going to have to go around multiple times. And that means you really want to control the Spiderlings if you're going to do that. That's why the HP burn is just better kind of from stage 21 up. All right, here we are on stage 10 of hard mode. Now, I think landing a free-to-play team here would be pretty tricky with the champions that I have, but I'm going to call out some free-to-play friendly champions that I think you might want to consider if you own them. And we'll just put in the factions here again so I don't mess up. And take a look. So, recent fusions, recent free login champions, permanent fusions, and permanent, reward champions. I do think Arbiter is very good for this. She's got a weaken on her A1 that'll land on the boss. She's also got a big turn meter fill. She's got an increased attack. She's got heals. She's got an AoE revive. So you could potentially use her. Obviously, her aura doesn't work here. but I do think this is a very good champion that could potentially work at stage 10. I don't love the fact that it's not an AoE weaken. But if you have an AoE decreased defense and a hex, you know, maybe you only need a weaken on the boss, and that could be enough. Some other free champions you could use. Well, Thor was a recent fusion, absolutely perfect for this. You can even use his aura of ally attack in all battles, especially if you're bringing a second attack-based nuker. Like if your Thor isn't enough or you don't have enough debuffs for him to hit as hard as possible, you might want to bring in a second nuker. And so, you know, bring in an attack-based champion like Alice. Alice is actually decent for this. I don't know that she hits quite hard enough. She doesn't have quite enough, and she loses a lot of utility in her skill in her you know her kit because most of that stuff won't play. However, you probably have a 5-star soul on her, so you might have more stats here that you need. Or you have more speed, maybe you have more damage, or you have a good blessing that makes this, you know, work a little bit better. You could certainly think about that. Watch out for you, Carl. You cannot freeze the spiderlings in hard mode. I didn't learn that until like 2 months ago. I found that out last time I was messing around with spider. I was like, you can't freeze the spiderlings here. You cannot. You cannot freeze. You can stun them. You can slow them. You can turn meter control them. You can fear them. You can petrify them. But you cannot freeze them. It's silly. I don't know why it's true. But that's certainly, you know, you don't want to probably use your Carl for that. Rathalos is actually really good, especially if you have an AoE HP burner. I don't know who that would be outside of Mordecai. So if you have a 6-star Mordecai built with speed, you could use Mordecai as a setup for Rathalos. A lot of us used that combo in last year's Hell Hades free-to-play challenge for 2024. Wixwell was a fusion last year, provides a lot of survivability, could probably act as a Spiderling tank. I'm pretty sure he has a taunt, doesn't he? I mean, look, I know he has a decreased attack and a provoke. Does he have a taunt? No, he has intercept. That's what it is. Okay, counterattacks. So, you know, not a bad thing to have intercepts on somebody because the boss does stun periodically. But definitely, I think the provokes could help. The decreased attack is really good. The shield is really good. The increased defense is really good. That's going to give you a lot of survivability. Plus, maybe you have them in, you know, a shield set or a bolster set or something. So think about that. Sila the Drakes is still really good here. Gives you an AoE stun, revive, and heals. Certainly, you can go max HP nuker. So if you have a couple of Royal Guards, you can bring them in, or even just one. Yeah. I obviously Armiger doesn't work here, right? Remember, Armiger was for turn meter control. This boss can't be turn meter controlled. I also wouldn't bring a starter champ. I don't think they hit hard enough to matter. But yeah, I think that's probably, I guess Deliana's okay for the waves. You know, if you build her as a nuker, she can crush out the spiderlings. That's not bad. Otherwise, you could also put her in a stun set. She's got all AoEs, and she's tanky. She's tanky. Another free champion here who could be good. Another potentially free champion here who could be good. These were harder to get. Another free champion. You're like, another free champion. This was not a free champion. But yeah, harder to get. So, but if you have any of them, they could be very useful. I don't know about Adeline. I don't think I would use her at all. I don't think I would use her at all. Okay, so for me to put together a team here that's relatively free to play friendly, it's gonna be a little tricky actually. I don't really have the right champions built, but let's try to make it relative. I think I'm gonna have to go with at least one non-free champion. But let's start with Thor because I think he's awesome for this. We'll stick with Arbiter and Sila the Drakes for kind of sturdiness and a little bit of crowd control. We still need speed. I mean, Arbiter gives us some speed, but I'm wondering if I could bring somebody else in for more speed here. Oh, I'm thinking about I could control the spiderlings pretty well with that, but I don't know that works. Like, should we just bring Deacon back or High Katoon maybe or Apothecary? I think I think we'll just bring Deacon back. I think we'll just bring Deacon back, put him in the lead. And then let's go ahead and bring in my Apothecary. Now, my Apothecary is built very well. He's a max HP nuker. He's also great AoE nuker. So he's going to help kill spiderlings. He's also going to help hit the boss really hard. So, free-to-play friendly, free-to-play friendly, free-to-play friendly, free-to-play friendly. Not so free-to-play friendly. So 4 free-to-play friendly champs, and you just need 1. I mean, maybe I could even do it with, Royal Guard, but I feel like that'd be not as good because he doesn't do great AoE damage. He doesn't really help with the spiderling. Whereas a Thorian, I think, will handle the spiderlings, so will Thor. So let's go ahead and do this. We'll run this. Again, you could use HP burners if you have them, but the factions are a little bit weak on HP burners. So it would probably be Mordecai. And then, you'd want to do as much. I don't even know how. Can you land a slow on? I don't even think you can land a slow on this boss. The hard mode boss. Maybe you can. But yeah, we've got a Thorian doing a lot of work here and Thor doing a lot of work. And they get hit pretty hard there. But we've got Sila the Drakes to help get them back in shape. And maybe that leech will help. There we go. Thor is in lifesteal. And Apothecary is in Relentless. That's why you're seeing him get extra turns. Boom. 52 seconds. Not bad. I don't know if that's my best. Let's see what my best... What do we think my best would be in these factions? I still think we probably want... I mean, we want a Thorian and Thor. I think those are my best damage dealers. Whoops, wrong. It's gotta be those factions. I could use a setup that's an AoE weaken and decreased defense on the same champion. That's good. Cardiel gives me an ally attack and a speed aura. And Gigante Archer gives me a lot of crowd control plus an AoE hex. So we've got the hex, the weaken, the decreased defense, max HP nuke, a lot of AoE damage, heals, ally attack, revive on death, cleanse. Yeah, we're good. This is probably... Again, if I put it into the team builder, I could probably optimize it a little bit more. But based on this, I think... Oh, Cardiel's my fastest. I actually thought Gigante Archer might be my fastest. Ooh, Thorian is pretty fast. Finally Venus goes. That's pretty brutal. We did get a sleep there on Thor, but I think it's going to be... It might be cleansed. Maybe not. It's not going to be. Thorian's just going to finish. All right, 36 seconds. 10 turns. Not too bad. Not too bad. So I know that gear matters, but the big thing here is going to be speed, and then it's going to be accuracy to land your debuffs. So as you go up the stages, you don't have to get to stage 10. Maybe you can farm, a different stage. You could farm stage 6 is good. You could farm stage 2. If you have the right affinity, you could farm one of the affinity stages, stage 4 or 5, whatever it happens to be. What I've found is farming between 1 and stage 6, it's not a massive increase in stats. It is kind of a steady, small increase in stats required for each stage in terms of accuracy and speed and stuff. But from 6 to 10, it's crazy. It just ramps up really, really fast. So you kind of want to push to 6 if you can, and then you may be stuck there for a while. And that's fine, because 6 actually has really good drop rates. It's Void Affinity, which gives you the most flexibility. So consider that. All right, so that is it for my faction-restricted spider breakdown, I guess. Let me know what you think. Did anything that I say in the video help you today? Help you theory craft a team for yourself? Or, do you have any suggestions? Put them in the comments. Other people will read them, and you'll help out the community. Okay, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for hanging out. I have been Colred, and I will see you in another video soon.